first line of defense. His parents, in this case, his parents. You're hearing it from the journal entries. Now, they may claim at trial that, these are all lies and never happened. But let's bring in our experts to talk about this. Joining me now in Los Angeles, California, forensic psychiatrist, trial expert, witness, columnist, Dr. Carole Lieberman. Dr. Carole Lieberman, let's talk about that first line of defense. I mean, it seems extremely obvious to me that there were problems here. We were talking about the bird head in the jar. But let's go right to the journal. What he's writing here, that he wanted help, according to his journal.
Yes, his journal is so damning. I mean, however, whatever things are let in the Instagram or not, or, however many things from the journals, there are enough things that will be let in that are just so damning. I mean, there were so many red flags in the years, really, leading up to the school shooting that his parents just ignored. And I mean, it's so pathetic when you hear what he was saying. I thought of calling 911, but I knew my parents would be really pissed. I mean, but he's talking about auditory hallucinations, visual hallucinations, paranoia, all kinds of things. And his father gives him a pill and tells him to suck it up. His mother laughs. And then they literally put the gun in his hands right before he did it. So they were just totally neglectful. They were more interested in taking care of their horses than they were in taking care of their son. And the judge did let that in, the money that they spent on all their horses.
Dr. Carole Lieberman, the bottom line, I mean, teenagers, especially teenage boys, a lot of times, they don't want to talk to you. They don't ask you for anything. And that's usually the challenge, is getting through to them to say, hey, what are you thinking about? What do you need help? Here, it's like the opposite. I don't understand this. I don't recognize this. If what he's writing is true, okay? Again, if what he's writing is true, like a teenager reaching out to his parents saying, I need help?
Well, first of all, that tells you that he has been needing and wanting to ask for help for years. He's finally gotten to the point where he's so desperate that he's actually going to do it and acknowledge that he needs help. But, these are parents who left him in the house when he was really young, and they went out drinking, and he had to go to a neighbor's house to ask her to call them, and so on. So they have been neglecting him for his whole life, just about. And the reason why the bird head is important is because that's one of the signs of the triad, the sociopathic triad. Torture of animals, bedwetting, and fire setting. And really, I think that they were just parents who were nurturing, so to speak, a sociopath, growing a budding sociopath throughout his life. They were totally neglectful all the time, and it did take a lot for him to finally say, I'm going to, try to get their attention and tell them that I need help.
And Dr. Carole Lieberman, especially if you have an obsession for it, right? Like, I've got, there are things that I love to do, things my wife loves to do as well. But when we find out that there's something that one of our children likes to do, all of a sudden we like to do that too. So it's not like you're giving something up, but isn't that part of effective parenting, to find out what your child likes to do and then get some sort of an interest in it so you can spend that time together?
Absolutely. And, as a lifelong horseback rider, I can tell you that boys his age, it's more often girls his age who are into horses than boys. Not completely, he could have liked them. But I think part of why he didn't was because he was jealous. He was annoyed that his parents were spending more time with the horses than with him. But, there's a pattern to school shooters. And the first thing in this pattern is a dysfunctional home. And clearly, Ethan comes from a dysfunctional home. Typically, there's abuse and or neglect. There may well have been abuse in his home. Certainly, there was neglect, which is a form of abuse. And they were just so into their own lives. He was like an afterthought. He was like an annoyance. Do we really have to take care of him? The only time they seem to have enjoyed doing something with him, his mother took him to the gun range, and his father bought him a gun. So, we know where that led to. So, and plus, it wasn't just Ethan who was asking for help. It was the days of the 2 days before the incident, the day before, and then that day, the school was telling them to bring him to a psychiatrist. So they just didn't want to have anything to do with it. Plus, I don't think they wanted to spend the money. There were some financial issues, and I don't think they wanted to spend whatever money they had on him.
Yeah, and that's where, once again, as a parent, you compromise. We're not going to go horseback riding this month because we need to take care of our child that we chose to bring into this world. Dr. Carole Lieberman, incredible insight tonight. Thank you so much.